Hi, Peter Thomson here, and welcome to the Economics of Innovation. So I've just been working today on a blog post called Zen and the Art of Marketing, and I'm obviously not finished it quite yet because it's actually prompted quite a lot of thinking for me. So I just wanted to drop out a quick social cam video, form up some of my thinking, and maybe get some of your thoughts as well. So for me, Zen is a really interesting starting point into marketing because I think it's not something that you associate together all the time. And also, I'm not a conventional marketer, so it's probably quite a good entry point for me to start thinking about marketing. First thing I started doing in the blog post was unpeeling marketing back into communicating. Because really, what is marketing, particularly when it's done well, other than just really, really good communicating? So communicating on behalf of the company, telling a story, building a brand, public relations, social media. It's all about communications and communicating. And that got me thinking, okay, well, what is good communication other than a conversation? So you're listening, you're talking, it's a two-way kind of dialogue, and you're conversing. So marketing is, when it's done well, communicating. Communicating, when it's done well, is a conversation. Okay, so we can look at what is a conversation. And conversation is two people in a dialogue. And dialogues for me always get me thinking about Plato and Socrates, and even in the context of looking at Zen, about a Zen master and a student mentoring, or two Zen masters kind of playing off each other, and those kind of classic Zen koans, sort of what is the sound of one hand clapping, and sort of the way that they would pose riddles and jokes to each other. And I think the conversation and dialogue got me thinking, okay, well, maybe really, really good marketing is as much about listening as it is about talking. So that's something we can learn from Zen, and I think that's quite right. But also that there's something to do in Zen with not being too attached. So the idea of attachment is something they talk about a lot in Zen. So being really attached to the outcome. So you're really gritty. You're sort of like, oh, I've got to make this sale. It's really important. I'm really stressed out. It's really ego related. It's a really kind of like gritty sort of attachment. And in Zen they talk about kind of life without desire, or letting go of attachment. Talk about commitment versus attachment. There's a lot of freedom that comes from exploring that. So maybe there's something we can learn from that seeking to be less attached that we can bring back into marketing. And I think that's really interesting for social media and conversations and communication, is if you're less attached to the outcome, then you can be more open to possibilities. And I think that's what gives really, really good marketing, that kind of inclusiveness, that excitement, that energy. You know, when you've got a great story to tell and you're building an interesting community and you're up to something, then people want to talk about it. People want to be a part of what you're up to. So I think that's a really interesting thing to take from Zen back into marketing. You know, is what can we do to be less about just making the sell today, and actually more about building an ongoing conversation.